Elon Musk thought he knew everything about his past. He was wrong. When a simple text message from his ex-wife Justine arrived during a Tesla meeting, he had no idea his entire world was about to shatter. 25 years of marriage, divorce, and buried secrets were about to surface. What Justine had kept hidden since 2007 would explain everything. The son they lost, the marriage that failed, and a dying nurse's confession that would change 5 young lives forever. Some truths can't stay buried. Some secrets are too important to keep. This is the story of what happened when the past finally caught up to the man trying to save humanity's future. Elon Musk's phone buzzed during the most important meeting of his week. He was sitting in the glass-walled conference room at Tesla's factory in Fremont, California. Around him, 15 engineers were arguing about the new battery design for the Model Y. Charts and graphs glowed on the big screen. Everyone was talking at once. Elon usually ignored his phone during meetings. He hated distractions, but something made him look down at the screen. The message was from Justine, his first wife, the woman he hadn't spoken to privately in almost 2 years, the mother of his 5 oldest sons. His chest tightened. His hands suddenly felt cold. The message was short. "Elon, I need to see you. It's about something from our past, something I never told you. It's important, please." Elon stared at the words. Around him, the engineers kept talking about voltage and charging speeds. Their voices sounded far away, like he was underwater. 25 years. That's how long it had been since they first met at Queen's University in Canada. Back when he was just a student with crazy dreams about electric cars and rockets. Back when she was studying to become a writer, carrying around thick fantasy novels everywhere she went. They had been so young, so full of hope. And then everything fell apart. Mr. Musk, his assistant Maria, was standing beside him. "Are you okay? You look pale." Elon realized everyone in the room was staring at him. The meeting had gone silent. "I'm fine," he said quickly. He stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Continue without me. Maria will take notes." He walked out of the conference room, his heart pounding. The hallway seemed too bright, too loud. Workers moved past him, carrying clipboards and talking into headsets. No one noticed that his hands were shaking. He read Justine's message again. "Something I never told you." What could she possibly need to tell him after all this time? They had been through everything together. The early days of building his companies. The birth of their 6 sons, though they lost their first baby, Nevada, when he was only 10 weeks old. That tragedy nearly destroyed them both. Then came 5 more sons through IVF, twins, then triplets. They divorced in 2008, 16 years ago now. They were polite to each other at school events. They texted about the boys' schedules. But they weren't friends. Too much pain lived between them, so why was she reaching out now? Elon walked to his private office and closed the door. Through the window, he could see the factory floor below. Robots were building cars, moving in perfect patterns. Everything was organized. Everything made sense. But nothing about this message made sense. He typed back, "When?" 3 dots appeared immediately. She was waiting for his reply. "Tomorrow, I can come to Palo Alto. There's a coffee shop we used to go to, Red Rock Coffee. Do you remember?" Remember, of course he remembered. They had spent hours there in the early 2000s, back when he was building PayPal. She would write her novels on her laptop. He would sketch rocket designs on napkins. They dreamed together in that coffee shop. "What is this about?" he typed. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Finally, I'll explain tomorrow, face to face. It's not something I can say over text. Trust me, Elon, you need to hear this." Elon's mind raced through possibilities. Was someone sick? Was it about one of their sons? Was she in trouble? Or was it something else entirely? Something from 25 years ago that could still matter today. He typed one word: "Okay." That night, Elon couldn't sleep. He lay in bed at his house in the Bay Area, staring at the ceiling. His mind kept traveling back through time. Queen's University, Ontario, Canada, 1994. He was 23 years old. He had transferred there from his school in Canada looking for something new. He was obsessed with the internet, with space, with changing the world. Most people thought he was strange. Then he met Justine Wilson in the common area of the student center. She was reading a thick book. He remembered it was The Hobbit. Her dark hair fell across her face as she read. She looked completely lost in the story. "That's a good book," he had said, sitting down near her. She looked up, annoyed at being interrupted. "It's more than good. It's about adventure, about leaving your comfortable home and doing something brave." "Like going to Mars," Elon said. She laughed. "What?" "Humans need to become a multi-planet species," he explained. "We need to go to Mars, build a civilization there. It's the only way to make sure we survive." Most people would have walked away, but Justine's eyes lit up. "That's either crazy or brilliant." "Both," Elon said. "It's both." They talked for hours that day. She told him about the fantasy novels she wanted to write. He told her about his dreams for electric cars and reusable rockets. Neither of them had any money. Neither of them had any proof their dreams would work, but they believed in each other. Now, lying in bed 25 years later, Elon wondered where that belief had gone. When had they stopped being partners and become strangers? He knew the answer. It started with Nevada. Their first son was born in 2002, Nevada Alexander Musk. For 10 weeks, Elon was happier than he had ever been. He would hold Nevada and tell him about rockets, about Mars, about the future they would build together. Then one morning, Nevada stopped breathing. Sudden infant death syndrome, the doctors said. SIDS. Nothing anyone could have done. Just a terrible, random tragedy. Elon remembered standing in the hospital, staring at his son's tiny, still body. The world had stopped making sense. All his intelligence, all his planning, all his money, none of it mattered. He couldn't fix this. He couldn't bring Nevada back. Justine fell apart. She cried for weeks. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Elon buried himself in work. That's what he always did when things got hard. He worked on PayPal 16 hours a day, then on Tesla, then on SpaceX. If he worked hard enough, maybe the pain would stop. But working didn't help his marriage. Justine needed him there, holding her, crying with her. Instead, he was at the office building companies. They had 5 more sons through IVF. Twins in 2004, Griffin and Xavier, who now goes by Vivian. Then triplets in 2006, Kai, Saxon, and Damien. Elon loved his boys, but he was never really present, always on his phone, always thinking about the next problem to solve. By 2008, the marriage was over. Tesla was almost bankrupt. SpaceX had failed 3 rocket launches in a row. Everything was falling apart. The divorce was painful. Justine wrote articles about their marriage, about how Elon had told her she wasn't as important as his work, about how he was never emotionally available. She was right. Elon knew she was right, but he also knew he was trying to save the world. Electric cars could stop climate change. Reusable rockets could make humans multiplanetary. These things mattered. They had to matter more than one person's feelings, right? Now, at 2 a.m., staring at his ceiling, Elon wasn't so sure. His phone buzzed. Another message from Justine. "Thank you for agreeing to meet. I know this is strange, but I promise you need to hear what I have to say. See you at Red Rock Coffee at 3 p.m. Elon's heart was racing again. What secret had Justine kept for 25 years? What could possibly be important enough to tell him now? He closed his eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. Tomorrow he would find out. And somehow he knew his life was about to change. Elon arrived at Red Rock Coffee 30 minutes early. He couldn't help it. Waiting at home felt impossible. The coffee shop looked almost exactly the same as it had 20 years ago. Same brick walls. Same wooden tables with scratches and coffee stains. Same smell of fresh coffee beans and cinnamon. But everything else had changed. Back in 2003, Elon was just another tech guy with big ideas. Now he was one of the most famous people in the world. He owned Tesla. He owned SpaceX. He was trying to revolutionize the internet with Starlink satellites. He wore a baseball cap and sunglasses, hoping nobody would recognize him. He ordered a black coffee and sat in the back corner, the same spot where he and Justine used to sit. The memories flooded back. Justine would work on her laptop, writing fantasy stories about dragons and magic. Her fingers would fly across the keyboard. Sometimes she would read passages out loud to him, her voice bringing the characters to life. Elon would spread papers across the table: business plans, rocket designs, sketches of electric car batteries. He would explain his ideas and she would listen. Really listen. She made him feel like his crazy dreams could actually happen. "If anyone can do it, you can," she would say. Those were good days before Nevada died, before the pressure of building companies destroyed their relationship, before everything got so complicated. Elon checked his watch, 2:55 p.m. His coffee was getting cold. He hadn't touched it. The door opened. Justine walked in. Elon's breath caught in his throat. She was 51 now, but she still looked like herself. Her dark hair had some gray streaks that she didn't bother hiding. She wore jeans and a simple blue sweater. No makeup. She never cared about those things. She saw him and stopped. For a moment, they just looked at each other across the coffee shop. 25 years of history passed between them in that look. First dates, wedding vows, late nights with crying babies, Nevada's funeral, 5 more sons growing up, arguments, divorce papers, years of polite, distant co-parenting. Justine walked over and sat down across from him. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi," Elon replied. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. They sat in uncomfortable silence. A barista called out someone's order. A group of college students laughed at a nearby table. Normal life continued around them. "Thank you for coming," Justine finally said. "Your message made it sound important." "It is." She twisted her hands together nervously. Elon remembered that gesture. She always did that when she was anxious. "So tell me," Elon said, "what's this about?" Justine looked down at the table. "This is harder than I thought it would be." Elon felt frustration rising. He had 1,000 things to do today. 3 meetings he had canceled, engineers waiting for his decisions. "Justine, just say it, whatever it is." She looked up at him. Her eyes were filled with something Elon couldn't quite read: sadness, fear, regret. "It's about 2007, she said slowly. "The year before we divorced." Elon searched his memory. 2007 was a nightmare year. Tesla was running out of money. SpaceX had just had another failed rocket launch. He was working 20 hours a day trying to keep both companies alive. His marriage was falling apart. "What about 2007? He asked. Justine took a deep breath. "Do you remember that week in August when I told you I was going to visit my sister in Vancouver?" Elon tried to remember. Those years were a blur of stress and exhaustion. "I guess so. Why?" "I didn't go to Vancouver," Justine said. Her voice was shaking now. "I lied to you. I went somewhere else." Elon felt his stomach drop. "Where did you go?" Justine's eyes filled with tears. "I went to San Francisco to see a doctor." The world seemed to stop moving. "Elon," she whispered, "I was pregnant." Time stopped. Elon stared at Justine. His brain, the brain that could solve impossible engineering problems, that could calculate rocket trajectories in his head, suddenly couldn't process what he was hearing. "Pregnant," he repeated slowly. "In 2007. Justine nodded. Tears were running down her face now. "I was 12 weeks along." Elon's hands gripped the edge of the table. "We had the twins in 2004. The triplets in 2006, all through IVF. You're telling me you got pregnant naturally?" "Yes," Justine's voice was barely a whisper. "How is that possible?" the doctor said. "I know what the doctor said, but it happened." She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. I found out in late July. I couldn't believe it either. After Nevada, after all the IVF treatments, after everything. It felt like a miracle. Elon's mind was racing. August 2007. Tesla was weeks away from bankruptcy. They needed to raise money or the company would die. SpaceX had just lost another rocket. The Falcon 1 had exploded on launch. Investors were pulling out. The press was calling him a failure, and Justine had been pregnant. "Why didn't you tell me?" His voice came out harsh, angry. Justine flinched but didn't look away. "Because you were falling apart, Elon. Do you remember what you were like that summer?" He did remember, barely sleeping, barely eating, working until he collapsed, yelling at engineers, desperate phone calls to investors, the worst months of his life. "I came to the Tesla factory that day," Justine continued. "I was going to tell you. I walked in and saw you screaming at someone about the Roadster's transmission problems. You looked like you were going to have a heart attack. Your face was red. Your hands were shaking." Elon closed his eyes. He could see himself back then, young, terrified, running out of money and time. "Then I heard you on the phone with an investor," Justine said. "You were begging them not to pull their funding, actually begging. I had never heard you sound like that, like you were drowning." "So you decided not to tell me," Elon said. "I decided to wait until things calmed down, until you weren't so stressed." Justine's voice cracked. "We already had 5 young sons at home. Griffin and Xavier were 3. The triplets were only 1 year old. We were barely holding our marriage together, and you were trying to save 2 companies from dying." Elon opened his eyes. "What happened to the baby?" Justine looked down at her hands. Fresh tears fell onto the table. "I drove home from the factory that day. I sat in our driveway for an hour thinking, trying to decide what to do. We could barely handle the 5 boys we had. You were never home. I was exhausted all the time. Our marriage was failing." She paused, struggling to continue. "I made an appointment at a clinic in San Francisco for the following Tuesday." Elon felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. "A clinic?" "I sat in the waiting room for 3 hours," Justine said quickly. "I filled out all the paperwork. They called my name twice, but I couldn't do it, Elon. I couldn't. I kept thinking about Nevada, about how precious life is, about how we'd never get another chance like this." "So what happened?" Elon could barely get the words out. "I left. I drove to Half Moon Bay and sat on the beach until dark. I decided I would tell you. I decided we would figure it out together, no matter how hard things were." Justine wiped her eyes again. Her whole body was shaking. "But then, 2 weeks later, I started bleeding. It was a Tuesday morning. You had already left for work at 5 a.m. like always. I knew right away something was wrong. I called my doctor." Elon felt his chest tightening. He knew what was coming. "I had a miscarriage," Justine whispered. "Natural, complete. By the time you came home that night at 11 p.m., it was over. And I never told you. I never told anyone." The coffee shop sounds faded away. Elon couldn't hear the music playing overhead, couldn't hear the other customers talking. All he could hear was Justine's words echoing in his head. Another baby. Another child they had lost. "We could have had 6 sons," he said. "Or a daughter," Justine said softly. "I always wondered if it was a girl." Elon stood up suddenly. His chair scraped loudly against the floor. People turned to look. "I need air," he said. He walked toward the door, his vision blurring, but Justine's voice stopped him. "Elon, wait. That's not the only reason I asked you here." He turned around. "There's more." His voice sounded hollow. Justine stood up, her face serious now. "There's something else I need to tell you, something about why I'm telling you this now, something about our sons." Elon walked back to the table slowly. His legs felt weak. He sat down and looked at Justine. "What about our sons?" he asked. Justine took a deep breath. 3 months ago, Saxon came to me with a problem. He'd been feeling tired all the time, dizzy. His heart was racing at random moments. Saxon, one of the triplets, 20 years old now, studying engineering at college. Is he okay? Elon felt panic rising in his chest. He went to see a doctor at Stanford Medical Center. They ran tests, heart monitors, blood work, an echocardiogram. Justine's voice was steady now, like she'd practiced these words. They found something, Elon. Saxon has a genetic heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Elon knew that term. His brain automatically pulled up information. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the heart muscle becomes too thick, makes it harder to pump blood, can cause fainting, chest pain, irregular heartbeat, can cause sudden death. How serious is it? He asked. He needs medication. He has to avoid intense exercise. He'll need regular monitoring for the rest of his life. Justine paused. But he'll be okay. The doctors caught it early. Elon felt relief wash over him, then confusion. Why didn't he tell me? Why didn't you call me right away? Because Saxon asked me not to, not until we understood what it meant. Justine leaned forward. Elon, this condition is genetic. It's inherited. It comes from either you or me. Have you been tested? Yes, last month. I don't have the gene. Justine's eyes locked onto his. Which means it came from you. The words hung in the air between them. Our other sons need to be tested too, Justine continued. Griffin, Vivian, Kai, Damien, all of them. And your other children, the ones with Siobhan, with Grimes. All 11 of your kids need genetic screening. Elon's mind was spinning. 11 children, spread across different mothers, all potentially carrying this genetic time bomb in their hearts. There's more, Justine said softly. The doctors said this condition. It can cause sudden death in young people, especially young men, often during physical activity but sometimes just randomly. She reached across the table and took Elon's hand. He was too shocked to pull away. Elon, do you understand what I'm saying? This could be what killed Nevada. The coffee shop disappeared. Elon was back in 2002, standing over his son's crib. Nevada wasn't breathing. The ambulance, the hospital, the doctors saying SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, an unexplained tragedy. They said it was SIDS, Elon whispered. SIDS is a diagnosis of exclusion, Justine explained. It means they don't know what happened. But now we know you carry this genetic condition, and it can kill babies, Elon, especially baby boys. The symptoms are exactly like SIDS. Elon pulled his hand away and stood up again. He walked to the window and stared out at the street. Cars drove past. People walked by with shopping bags and coffee cups. Normal life, but nothing felt normal anymore. Nevada could have been saved. If they had known about the genetic condition, they could have monitored him. They could have caught the warning signs. Their baby boy died because they didn't know. I need to sit down, Elon said, even though he was already sitting. He meant he needed the world to stop spinning. Justine came and stood beside him. I'm not telling you this to hurt you. I'm telling you because our sons need you. They need their father to get tested, to help them understand what this means, to make sure they're all screened and safe. Why didn't Saxon call me himself? Because he's 20 years old and he doesn't know how to tell his father that he's sick. Because you're Elon Musk and you're always busy saving the world. Because he was scared. That hurt. It hurt because it was true. I'll get tested today, Elon said, and I'll call all of them. Saxon, Griffin, Vivian, all of them today. Good, Justine touched his shoulder gently. But Elon, there's still one more thing. The most important thing. The real reason I told you about the baby we lost in 2007. Elon turned to look at her. What else could there possibly be? Justine's expression was strange, sad but also peaceful. I need to tell you about a letter I received from a woman I've never met. A woman who changed both our lives 17 years ago and we never knew it. Justine pulled out her phone and opened her email. She scrolled through her messages until she found what she was looking for. Her name was Patricia Chen, Justine said. She was a nurse at the clinic in San Francisco, the one I went to in 2007. Elon sat back down at the table. His coffee was ice cold now. He didn't care. Patricia is dying, Justine continued quietly. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. She wrote to me 6 weeks ago. She handed Elon her phone. He looked at the screen. It was a photo of a handwritten letter on lined paper. The handwriting was shaky, like the person's hands were weak. Elon began to read. Dear Mrs. Musk, you don't know me, but I remember you. My name is Patricia Chen. I was a nurse at Women's Health Center in San Francisco in August 2007. You came in for an appointment. You were 12 weeks pregnant. I'm writing to you now because I'm dying. The doctors say I have maybe 2 months left, and there's something I need to confess before I go. Elon looked up at Justine. What did she do? Keep reading, Justine said. I called your name twice that day. You were supposed to come back for your procedure, but you didn't come. You sat in that waiting room for almost 3 hours and then you left. I knew who you were. I'd seen articles about your husband and his companies. Tesla was in the news all the time back then. People said it would fail. SpaceX too. Your husband was young and ambitious and trying to do impossible things. When you didn't respond to my second call, I looked at your file. I saw you were 12 weeks along. I saw the notes about your previous children, 5 boys and 1 who died as an infant. I saw that you looked terrified sitting there. I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I wrote a note in your chart. Patient showed significant distress and uncertainty. Did not proceed with appointment. Patient left facility of her own choice. Recommend follow-up counseling if she returns. Elon's hands were shaking. He kept reading. I could have been fired for that note. It wasn't my place to interfere, but I told my supervisor you had changed your mind and needed the appointment canceled. I made sure no one would call you for follow-up. I gave you space to decide without pressure. I've thought about you so many times over the years. I wondered if I did the right thing. When I read that you had a miscarriage a few weeks later, I cried. When I saw your divorce announcement in 2008, I felt guilty. Did my note change your life in ways I had no right to change it? But I also watched what your husband built. Tesla survived. They make electric cars now. My son drives one. SpaceX landed rockets that come back from space. My granddaughter watched a landing when she was 10 years old and decided she wanted to be an engineer. I'm dying now, and I needed to tell someone what I did. I needed you to know that on that day in 2007, someone saw your pain. Someone tried to give you kindness when you needed it most. I hope you found peace. I hope your sons are healthy and happy. I hope my interference didn't ruin your life. With respect and apology, Patricia Chen. Elon finished reading. He handed the phone back to Justine. He couldn't speak. She died 3 weeks ago, Justine said. Her daughter emailed me. Patricia wanted to make sure I got the letter before she passed. She saved you, Elon said. His voice was rough. She gave you time to think, time to leave. Maybe I would have left anyway. Justine wiped her eyes. We'll never know. Elon stood up and walked to the window again. Outside, a Tesla Model 3 drove past, then another one. His cars, they were everywhere now, common, normal. In 2007, people laughed at Tesla, said electric cars would never work, said he was wasting his money. If Justine had told him about the pregnancy that day at the factory, what would he have done? Would he have left the meeting? Would he have focused on his family instead of his companies? Would Tesla have failed? Would SpaceX have shut down? Would the world be different? There's a photo with the letter, Justine said. She swiped to another image. This is Patricia's granddaughter, the one who watched the SpaceX landing. Elon looked at the phone. A young Asian woman stood in front of a building at UC Berkeley. She was wearing a Cal engineering sweatshirt. She was smiling. Her name is Mei Chen, Justine said. She's 20 years old, junior at Berkeley, studying aerospace engineering. Elon stared at the photo. She applied for a summer internship at SpaceX last year, Justine continued. She didn't get it. She applied again this year. Patricia wanted me to tell you about her before she died, not to ask for special treatment, just to show you how everything connects. Elon thought about that day in 2007. Patricia Chen making a choice to help a stranger. That stranger going home instead of having a procedure. That stranger's husband keeping his companies alive. Those companies inspiring a little girl. That little girl growing up to study rockets. Everything connected, but Justine wasn't done. Elon, she said, there's one more thing Patricia's letter made me realize. One more thing I need to tell you, and this is the hardest part. Justine sat back down at the table. She looked tired. Not just physically tired, the kind of tired that comes from carrying something heavy for too long. When Patricia's letter arrived, I spent 3 days just staring at it, she said. I couldn't stop thinking about that day in 2007, about all the choices I made, about all the things I never told you. Elon sat down across from her. Why are you telling me all this now, after 17 years? Because I'm getting remarried, Justine said quietly. The words hit Elon like a physical blow. He didn't know why. They'd been divorced for 16 years. Of course she would move on. He'd remarried twice himself, both times to Tallulah Riley, then divorced twice. He had children with other women now, but hearing Justine say it made everything real. His name is David, Justine continued. David Morrison. He teaches English literature at San Jose State University. We met at a bookstore 3 years ago. He's kind, patient. He loves reading as much as I do. He's nothing like you. Congratulations, Elon said. He tried to mean it. Thank you. Justine twisted her hands together again. But when David asked me to marry him 6 months ago, I said I needed time. He didn't understand why. We've been together for 3 years. We love each other. It should have been simple. But it wasn't, Elon said. No, because I realized I was carrying all these secrets, the baby we lost, the miscarriage I never told you about, the guilt about our marriage failing, the anger at you for working all the time, the anger at myself for not being stronger. Justine's voice cracked. I couldn't marry David while carrying all that weight. It wasn't fair to him, and it wasn't fair to me. Elon looked down at the table. He traced a coffee stain with his finger. So I started therapy, Justine continued. Real therapy, not just talking to friends. And my therapist asked me one question that changed everything. She asked, what do you need to let go of before you can move forward? And the answer was telling me, Elon said. Yes, but not just telling you about the pregnancy and the miscarriage. That was part of it. Saxon's diagnosis was the trigger. It gave me a medical reason to reach out. But the real reason, Justine paused, the real reason is that I need to forgive you, out loud, to your face. Elon looked up sharply. Forgive me. For not being there when Nevada died. For working 100 hours a week while I raised 5 boys alone. For telling me I wasn't as important as saving the world. For all of it. Tears ran down Justine's face. And I need to forgive myself too, for not telling you about the pregnancy, for keeping secrets, for blaming you for everything when I made choices too. Elon felt something breaking open inside his chest, a wall he'd built 17 years ago, a wall made of work and ambition and refusing to feel pain. I was a terrible husband, he said quietly. You were a young man trying to save 2 dying companies and raise 5 sons and deal with losing your first baby, Justine said. You were human, Elon. Not a robot, not a machine, just human. I should have been there more. Yes, you should have. Justine didn't look away. But you are also building something important. Tesla really is helping fight climate change. SpaceX really is going to put humans on Mars. Your work mattered. It still matters. But I lost you, Elon said. His voice was barely a whisper. We lost each other, Justine corrected gently. I was so buried in grief after Nevada that I couldn't see you were grieving too. You buried yourself in work. I buried myself in anger. We both made mistakes. They sat in silence for a moment. The coffee shop hummed with life around them. Students studying, people on laptops, a barista calling out orders, normal people living normal lives. I forgive you, Justine said clearly, for everything, for not being the husband I needed, for choosing work over family sometimes, for all of it. I forgive you, Elon. Elon felt tears on his face. He couldn't remember the last time he'd cried. Maybe at Nevada's funeral, maybe never. And I need you to know something else, Justine continued. Our sons are proud of you. Saxon told me that when he got his diagnosis. He said, at least Dad's work on medical technology might help people like me someday. Even sick, even scared, he was proud of his father. That broke something in Elon completely. He put his head in his hands and sobbed, right there in Red Rock Coffee, the most famous entrepreneur in the world, crying like a child. Justine reached across and touched his shoulder. Not a hug, just a gentle touch, a connection. There's one last thing, she said softly. About Mei Chen, Patricia's granddaughter, the one who wants to work at SpaceX. Elon looked up, wiping his eyes. Justine smiled. She's exactly like you were at 20, obsessed with space, working herself too hard, brilliant but stubborn. What about her? Elon asked. I met her, Justine said, last week, and she told me something you need to hear. Justine pulled up another photo on her phone. This time it showed her sitting at a cafe table with a young woman, Mei Chen. They were both smiling. After Patricia died, her daughter contacted me, Justine explained. She said Mei wanted to meet me, to thank me even though I didn't understand why. Thank you for what? Elon asked. For existing, basically. For being part of the story that inspired her grandmother to help me that day in 2007. Justine shook her head. It sounds strange, I know, but Mei said her grandmother talked about that moment for years, about choosing kindness over rules, about how one small choice can ripple forward in ways you never see. Elon leaned forward. What did Mei tell you? She told me about watching the Falcon 9 landing in December 2015. She was 10 years old. Her grandmother was babysitting her that day. Justine's voice softened. Patricia made popcorn and they watched the live stream together on an old laptop. When that rocket came down and landed perfectly, Mei started crying. She told her grandmother, I want to do that. I want to make rockets that come home. Elon remembered that day. The first time they'd successfully landed an orbital rocket. The control room had erupted in cheers, engineers hugging and crying. It was proof that reusable rockets could work, that his dream wasn't impossible. He never thought about the 10-year-old girls watching at home. Patricia told Mei the whole story that night, Justine continued. About being a nurse, about a scared woman who came to her clinic in 2007, about making a choice to be kind. About how that woman's husband built the company that just landed that rocket. She told Mei about you, Elon said. About us, about our story. Patricia didn't use our names, she couldn't because of privacy rules. But after Patricia died, her daughter told Mei the truth, that the woman in the story was me, that the husband was you. Justine swiped to another photo. This one showed Mei standing in front of a small rocket, a student project, clearly homemade but carefully built. Mei is the president of Berkeley's Rocket Club now, Justine said. They build and launch small rockets. Last year they came in third place at a national competition. This year they're aiming for first. She applied to SpaceX, Elon said, remembering what Justine had mentioned earlier. Twice. Rejected twice. Justine looked at him seriously. And before you ask, no, I'm not telling you this so you'll hire her. That's not what Patricia wanted. That's not what May wants either. Then why tell me? Because of what May said when I met her last week. Justine put her phone down. I asked her if she was angry about being rejected, if she blamed SpaceX, if she blamed you. What did she say? She said SpaceX gets thousands of applications. I understand the odds, but I'll keep trying. That's what Mr. Musk did, right? The Falcon one failed 3 times before it worked. Tesla almost went bankrupt. He kept going, so I'll keep going too. Elon felt something shift in his chest. Then she said something else, Justine continued. She said, my grandmother spent her whole career as a nurse helping people one at a time. She saved maybe thousands of lives over 40 years. But she always told me that Mr. Musk thinks bigger. He's trying to save the whole species. Make us multiplanetary. That's a different kind of helping. Both matter. Both are important. Elon looked out the window. A SpaceX Starlink satellite dish sat on the roof of a building across the street. His technology connecting the world to the internet. May told me her grandmother died at peace, Justine said quietly, because she believed that her one small act of kindness in 2007, helping a scared pregnant woman, somehow connected to the rocket's landing, to the electric cars, to all of it. She believed in the invisible web of choices, that everything connects. Do you believe that? Elon asked. Justine thought for a moment. I believe Patricia's kindness mattered. I believe I made the choice to leave that clinic, and 2 weeks later I lost the baby anyway. I believe you kept working and saved Tesla and SpaceX. I believe we got divorced and it broke both our hearts. I believe our 5 sons grew up and became good people despite our mistakes. I believe Saxon has a heart condition, but he'll be okay because we caught it in time. She paused. I believe that little girl watched a rocket land and decided to become an engineer. I believe all of it matters, all of it connects, even the painful parts, maybe especially the painful parts. Elon sat back in his chair. His mind was trying to process everything, the pregnancy he never knew about, the miscarriage, Saxon's condition, Nevada's death possibly explained after 22 years, Patricia's letter, May's dreams, Justine's forgiveness. What do I do with all this? He asked. His voice sounded lost, like a child asking for directions. Justine smiled sadly. You do what you always do, Elon. You take the information and you solve the problem. You get tested for the genetic condition. You make sure all your kids get screened. You let yourself feel sad about the baby we lost. You forgive yourself for being human. And May, Elon asked. You let her earn her place at SpaceX on her own merit, Justine said firmly. But maybe you remember that somewhere out there, there's a 20-year-old girl who dreams of Mars just like you did, and there are thousands more like her. Justine stood up. I need to go. David is waiting for me. We're picking out flowers for the wedding. Elon stood too. They faced each other across the table one more time. When's the wedding? He asked. October 15th. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Justine picked up her bag. You're not invited, and I mean that kindly. It would be too weird, but the boys will be there. Tell them I'm proud of them, Elon said. Tell Saxon especially. Tell him yourself, Justine said. He's your son, call him. She walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back. Elon, one more thing. There's more, he almost laughed, but Justine's face was serious. Patricia's daughter included something else with the letter, something I haven't told you yet, something that changes everything I just said. Elon felt his heart drop. What else could there possibly be? Justine walked back to the table. She pulled out her phone again and scrolled through her photos. Her hands were shaking. Patricia kept records, Justine said slowly. Personal records, not official clinic files. Those were destroyed years ago according to privacy laws. But Patricia kept a journal, a notebook where she wrote about difficult cases, cases that stayed with her. She wrote about you, Elon said. Yes, and when she knew she was dying, she asked her daughter to send me copies of those pages. Justine found what she was looking for. There are 3 entries: August 2007, September 2007, and one from October 2007. She showed Elon her phone. The image showed a page from a spiral notebook. The handwriting was neat, careful, a nurse's handwriting. Elon began to read the August entry. August 14, 2007. A young woman came in today. 12 weeks pregnant, appointment scheduled, but she never came back to the procedure room. She sat in the waiting room for 3 hours looking terrified. I recognized her from newspaper articles. She's married to that Tesla man, the one trying to make electric cars. I called her name twice. She didn't respond. When I checked on her file, I saw she already has 5 sons. One died as an infant. My heart broke for her. I made a note in her chart that she left voluntarily. I told my supervisor she changed her mind. I don't know if I did the right thing, but she looked so scared and confused. Sometimes people just need more time to think. Elon looked up. That's what you already told me. Keep reading, Justine said. The September entry. She scrolled to the next image. September 3, 2007. I've been thinking about the woman from August. I looked her up online today. I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help it. Her name is Elon Musk. She's a writer, published 2 fantasy novels. Her husband's companies are in the news constantly. They say Tesla will fail. They say SpaceX is a waste of money. I found an old interview with her from 2003. She talked about losing her first son to SIDS. She said it nearly destroyed her marriage. She said she and her husband dealt with grief differently. He worked more. She withdrew into herself. I wonder if she's still pregnant. I wonder if she told her husband. I wonder if my note gave her the time she needed, or if I just made everything harder. I pray I did the right thing. Patricia was thinking about you, Elon said. Worried about you. Now read October, Justine whispered. Elon scrolled to the 3rd entry. This one was longer. October 19, 2007. I saw Elon Musk's name in the news today. Not about her husband's companies this time, about her. She was admitted to Stanford Hospital 2 weeks ago. Emergency room, heavy bleeding. The article said she's recovering at home now. I know what that means. I've been a nurse for 20 years. I know what heavy bleeding means for a woman who was 12 weeks pregnant 2 months ago. She lost the baby. Elon stopped reading. His vision blurred. I never knew there was a news article, Justine said quietly. I was so out of it those weeks. The bleeding was bad. I went to the ER alone because you were in a crucial meeting with investors. They kept me overnight for observation. Someone must have recognized my name and leaked it to the press. I never saw the article, Elon said. His voice was hollow. I was so focused on saving Tesla, I didn't even notice you were in the hospital. You came home late that night. I told you I'd had a bad period. You were so exhausted you just nodded and went to sleep. Justine's tears were flowing freely now. I convinced myself I was protecting you from more stress. But really, I was protecting myself from having to share the grief. Elon kept reading Patricia's entry. I can't stop thinking about this. If Justine had gone through with the procedure in August, she wouldn't have suffered through a natural miscarriage in September. She wouldn't have ended up in the ER. She wouldn't have gone through all that pain. Did I make the wrong choice? Did my interference cause more suffering instead of less? But then I read another article. Tesla just got emergency funding. They're going to survive. SpaceX is preparing for another rocket launch. Justine's husband is still fighting. Maybe everything happened exactly as it was supposed to. Maybe we can't know if our choices are right or wrong. We can only make them with love and hope for the best. Elon handed the phone back to Justine. He couldn't speak. "There's one more page," Justine said. "From this year, March 2024, 2 months before Patricia died." She scrolled to the final image. The handwriting was shakier now, weaker. "March 15, 2024. The cancer is in my bones now. The pain is bad, but I needed to write one more entry about Justine Musk before I die. I looked her up again after all these years. She's remarried. No, wait, I was wrong. She's engaged, getting married in October to a literature professor. She looks happy in the photos, truly happy. Her sons are grown men now. I saw photos of them online. 5 handsome young men. One of them looks exactly like Elon Musk did in those old articles from 2007. Tesla succeeded. Electric cars are everywhere. My son drives one. SpaceX lands rockets that come back from space. My granddaughter wants to be an engineer because of those landings. And Justine wrote 6 novels. 6. She achieved her dream too. I'm dying, but I'm at peace. I helped a scared woman in 2007. I don't know if it was the right choice, but I made it with love. And somehow, 17 years later, the world is better. Electric cars, reusable rockets. A woman who survived grief and found happiness again. Maybe that's all any of us can do. Make choices with love. Hope they ripple forward into something good. My granddaughter may just got rejected from her dream internship at SpaceX. She's heartbroken. But I told her what I learned from Justine's story. Keep going. Keep trying. Everything connects in ways we can't see. If I helped create even a tiny thread in the web that led to this future, then my life meant something. Elon finished reading. He looked at Justine, really looked at her. This woman he'd loved and married and built a family with. This woman he'd lost because he was too busy trying to save the world. "Why show me this now?" he asked. "Why tell me all of this?" Justine took a deep breath. "Because Patricia's journal had one more page, and this is what I haven't told you yet. This is the part that left me frozen when I read it." Justine scrolled to one last image. Her hand trembled as she held out the phone to Elon. This entry is dated April 2nd, 2024, 1 week before Patricia died. Elon took the phone. The handwriting was barely readable now, shaky lines, words crossed out and rewritten. The writing of someone in terrible pain fighting to get their thoughts down before time ran out. April 2, 2024, I'm in hospice now. Days left, not weeks. The morphine makes everything foggy, but I need to write this down. I need someone to know. Last night May came to visit me. She brought her laptop. She wanted to show me something. Her second rejection letter from SpaceX came yesterday. She was trying not to cry in front of me, but then she showed me something else. A medical form she had to fill out for her Berkeley health insurance. Family history, genetic conditions. She asked me, "Grandma, did anyone in our family have heart problems?" And suddenly I remembered something. Something I saw in Justine Musk's file in 2007. Something I'd forgotten until this moment. Elon's hand started shaking. He kept reading. When I looked at Justine's medical file that day in August 2007, I saw her full medical history. She'd had genetic testing done as part of her IVF treatments. The clinic needed it to screen for conditions that could be passed to children. There was a note in her file, a genetic marker. The doctor had written, "Patient's husband carries gene for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Recommend all children be screened by age 18. High risk for males." I forgot about that note for 17 years. It didn't seem important at the time. I was focused on whether she was going through with the procedure, but now I remember. Elon Musk carries a genetic heart condition, and they had 5 sons who needed to be screened. I looked it up tonight on May's laptop. I read about hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. I read that it can cause sudden death in young men. I read that it can be mistaken for SIDS in infants. Their first son, Nevada. He died at 10 weeks old in 2002. They said it was SIDS, but what if it wasn't? Elon stopped reading. The coffee shop spun around him. Nevada, his baby boy, the son who died in his sleep. They'd never known why. The doctors said Sid's sudden infant death syndrome, a mystery, an unexplained tragedy, but it wasn't unexplained. He'd carried the answer in his DNA all along. He forced himself to keep reading. I don't know if Elon and Justine ever followed up on that genetic screening recommendation. I don't know if their 5 surviving sons were tested. I don't know if they know. And I'm dying. I'll be dead in days. This knowledge will die with me unless I tell someone. I've asked my daughter to send copies of my journal to Justine. All of it, including this page. She needs to know. Their sons need to be tested. They need to know they're at risk. May asked me why I was crying while I wrote this. I told her I was thinking about old patients, about choices and consequences, about invisible threads connecting everything. I told her, sometimes we think we're helping, but we don't see the whole picture. I helped a woman in 2007, but I forgot to tell her something that could save her children's lives. May said, but Grandma, you're telling her now. You're making it right. That's what matters. She's wrong. I'm not making it right. I'm dying before I can make it right. All I can do is write this down and hope Justine gets it in time. Hope that those 5 boys get tested. Hope that I haven't failed them by forgetting for 17 years. The entry ended there. No signature, just shaky handwriting trailing off the page. Elon looked up at Justine. His face was white. Saxon, he whispered. Saxon's condition. You said he just got diagnosed 3 months ago. Yes, Justine said. After Patricia wrote this, after she died, Saxon started having symptoms in January. He got tested in February. We found out in March. If Patricia hadn't remembered, Elon said slowly, if she hadn't written this down, if her daughter hadn't sent you the journal, we would have found out eventually, Justine said. When Saxon collapsed, when one of our other sons had symptoms, but maybe not in time, maybe, her voice broke. Maybe we would have lost another son, Elon. Maybe we would have buried another baby. Elon stood up so fast his chair fell over. He didn't pick it up. He walked to the window and pressed his forehead against the glass. I killed Nevada, he said. My genetics, my DNA. I killed our son. No, Justine was beside him instantly. No, Elon, you didn't know. The doctors should have followed up on the genetic screening. We should have made sure the boys were tested. But we were young and overwhelmed and grieving. We didn't know. I should have known. Elon's voice was raw. I should have paid attention to medical records. I should have made sure, but I was too busy working, too busy building companies, too busy trying to change the world to save my own son. Nevada died before we knew about the gene, Justine said firmly. Even if we'd had him tested, the symptoms can start suddenly. Babies with this condition can die in their sleep even with the best monitoring. You didn't kill him. Genetics killed him. Bad luck killed him. But not you. Elon turned to face her. Tears streamed down his face. Patricia remembered in time to save our other sons, Justine continued. She wrote it down even though she was dying, even though she was in terrible pain. She remembered and she told me, and I'm telling you, Saxon is okay. The others will be tested. We caught it in time. Because of a dying nurse who helped you 17 years ago, Elon said. A stranger who cared enough to keep a journal, to remember. Yes, Justine said simply. They stood together at the window. Outside, life continued. Cars drove past. People walked their dogs. Someone laughed on their phone. Normal life. While inside this coffee shop, Elon Musk's entire understanding of his past had just been rewritten. There's one more thing, Justine said quietly. One final thing Patricia wrote, on the very last page of her journal, the last words she ever wrote. She held out her phone one more time. Elon took it with shaking hands. The final entry was dated April 8, 2024, the day before Patricia died. Tell Elon Musk I'm sorry I forgot. Tell him his son's death wasn't his fault. Tell him to forgive himself. Tell him the world needs people who dream of Mars, but tell him his children need him here on Earth. Tell him everything connects. The good and the bad, the choices and the consequences, the dreams and the costs. Tell him it's not too late to be present, not too late to be a father, not too late to save the sons he has left. Tell him I died at peace because I remembered in time. Tell him to remember too. Remember what matters. Remember who matters before it's too late.